vocations. We are going on with the diaconate, so we have a very special guest. We have Deacon Henri here. How are you, Deacon?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today.
It's a pleasure.
Awesome. So we want to start with the first question. Everybody wants to know. Everybody has been asking. How long have you been a deacon?
Well, 20 years coming this November.
This November. Okay, it's a long time.
Yes.
Yes. Do you remember the day that you found out that you were being called to be a deacon?
Well, it's not like a day. I used to work with the prayer and life workshop in English, and they had made me Southern Director of the United States or whatever. And we were just trying to get it started in English, and I was with this other lady by her name was Cynthia, and as a matter of fact, she's from this parish, and we were given the workshops, and I kept on feeling like God is asking me for something different, something more. And that went for a while. And one day when I was doing spiritual direction with Monsignor Lacera, he suggested, why don't you become a deacon? Why don't you apply to become a deacon? And I said, well, I'll do it. By the way, I didn't even know what a deacon was.
Oh, okay. That's funny. So you asked them about it, or you just kind of went and looked for it yourself?
There's a long story here. I was already in the program.
Okay.
And one day in one of the classes, they were reviewing this about the deacons, this and that. And suddenly, I said, you mean to tell me that deacons are clergy? And everybody turned to me and says, of course, didn't you know that? No. I had no idea. I thought it was like a ministry type of thing within the archdiocese, but the fact of being a clergy, no idea.
So when you found out, exactly what it was, and you decided, I am going to do this, and you told your family about it. How did they react? What did they tell you?
Well, my children were kind of, they really didn't care one way or the other. They didn't understand. My wife had her doubts, whatever, but she did agree. And in reality, we didn't really know that much about what it took, and or as much as it took. And that, so it went by without really much objection from the family.
Okay, all right. And so at the time, what were you doing? Like, what was your occupation?
My profession is I'm a lawyer, and I practice criminal law as a defendant. And I was a lawyer practicing actually for 38 years until I decided I was already a deacon, and I decided it was not a good idea.
Okay.
So I lost kind of a flavor for it.
So as soon as you became a deacon, you no longer work as a lawyer?
Yes, I did for a while.
Okay.
Okay. Until one day I made a decision, and I sat with a friend, and I said, it seems like I can't do this any longer. And he says, why don't you apply to become a teacher? And I said, all right. So I applied, and Father Davis was at the time the president of Archbishop Pera, and eventually they did give me the job. And, I stayed there for a long time, 14 years, something like that.
That's a long time. And so while you were doing the classes and everything, do you happen to remember how many people were in the class?
How many students?
Yes.
Oh, the classes in those days, at the beginning, there were classes of 35 students.
Okay.
And Later, the school began to slow down. There were less students, more manageable.
Okay.
But there was a time when it was back. Yeah.
Okay. And how about when you were going to the diaconate? How many people were doing that program?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In the diaconate program, actually, we were 5 originally.
Okay.
And the reason for it was that there were 2 programs going on at the same time. One in Spanish and one in English.
Okay.
And some of the Spanish deacons from my parish came to me and asked me to do it in Spanish so that the bishop would not close the program in Spanish. So I agreed, and I did it in Spanish. And in part, I was very, very glad because I had real good teachers, and basically that's why we were so little, although not all 5.
Okay. And so that was my next question. Yeah. How many of them did become a deacon?
All 4 of us.
Okay.
There was 1 that did not make it.
Okay. All right. So we know that when you became a deacon, a little while after you were no longer a lawyer, but during the time that you were studying, how did you balance work and study?
Well, I had my own practice, and I worked with my brother, my father. Although my dad was almost semi-retired at 80. And so I planned out my time, and it seemed like I was always studying, because if I was not working, I was studying.
Right.
But I could work around my time.
So you just made your own schedule.
My own schedule.
That's
yes.
good. And do you still keep in touch today with those classmates, those 5 classmates that you had?
Well, after 20 years, it's kind of hard.
Right.
We see each other when the bishop brings all the deacons together, convocation. And at that time, we usually get together and we all sit in the same bench at the chapel and catch up or whatever, but like once a year.
It's still something, so you
Sure.
still kind of keep in touch with them. What kind of ministries are you involved here in St. John Newman?
Well, right now, I'm taking a leave of absence
Okay.
on the ministries. But I've always been involved with family-related ministries from the very beginning. And I was also involved with maybe a year or 2 in the Rachel's Vineyard, which is it's a beautiful type of ministry. And, but the archdiocese took over that ministry and took it out of the parish. So it's like an answer.
Okay. I mean, we're all kind of taking a break right now, right? So, Corona, we're doing it virtually, but, we're still there. So tell us a little bit about your experience as a deacon.
Wow. As a deacon, I've been involved. See, each deacon has his own preferences. I have a friend, deacon, who is very good in liturgy. He knows everything, to the last little thing, and whatever. I enjoy the liturgy. I need it, but I'm more of a teacher than I am anything else.
Okay.
I enjoy but every time I have an opportunity, like baptisms, wakes and stuff like that, they're interesting moments. It's wherever the Lord calls me. As long as I can do it, I'll do it.
I love that answer. A lot of people ask this, and I didn't know myself prior to this. interview. How much does a deacon get paid?
Oh,
A lot, right?
a lot of air.
Yeah.
No, we don't get it. We get paid later on.
Okay.
In heaven.
Right, yes.
Hopefully.
For sure, for sure. So, and you could go back to that, maybe not one day, but like that series of moments where you were kind of realizing that you're being called, to become a deacon. Let's say you could time travel and go back to those moments. Knowing what you know now, what advice would you give yourself?
Wow. The advice I would give myself and anybody who's thinking to become a deacon would be, remember that once you become a deacon, you're not part of the crowd. Everybody's looking at you where you want them. So I suggest that you start working on being saint, be as holy as you can, because anything you say, anything you do, might affect somebody's faith, and that's a very serious thing. So that probably be my number one advice.
That's a good one. That's really good. So just to end the night, our last question, we want to know, how long can you serve as a deacon?
I think that you can serve as long as you can. It doesn't have like an age of retirement thing or whatever. I imagine that we work until we can, until our brains work and we are able to walk and serve. We're here to serve the parish, to serve our pastor and vicars in any way that we can. And as long as we are able to do it physically, we should be one. I might be doing my last thing.
All right, thank you so much, Deacon Henri. So we have come to the end of our interview. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us, to speak to everybody that's watching.
Thank you for calling. Thank you.
Thank you. And you guys keep tuned for our next video. It's the last video of the series. Thank you so much, and see you again soon.